Hey guys, today we will try and learn some basic Linux commands. So I have created a Linux virtual machine in Azure. We will first log into it and then we will try and learn some basic commands. So let's do that first. I will now log into the machine. And this is just a standard notification. Okay. Now, uh, you need to remember that in cloud, Linux has no graphical user interface. It only has CLI, which is command line interface. And so it's very important to learn these commands. So we will just go through some basic commands today. I'll try and log in first of all. Right. So I've now logged into Linux. The first part of this is vkcast is my username. The second part is Linux2, which is name of the VM which I've created. Whatever name you create will appear here, the name of your VM, and your username would be this part, the first part. I would now first of all log in as administrator. We call it administrator in Windows. In Linux it's called the root user. Right, so I'm now working as a root Linux. The sudo command stands for super user do, and I stands for interact. So super user do interact. The first command which I would give before doing anything else would be apt update. apt stands for application package tool update. All right. So this is just like standard update, basically. It updates any patches or stuff like that which needs to be installed. Right. The next command, let's see. I'll type ls, which is list, which would list basically all the files and folders which are there in the system right now. So there is nothing. So let's create some folders and files first of all. What we call folders in Windows is called a directory over here. So let's create a directory. So mkdir stands for make directory. I'll create a directory called Azure, for example. Let's confirm. So yes, the directory Azure has been created. Let's create a couple of more. View confirmed. Right, so we have created 3 directories now: AWS, Azure, and GCP. Now let's try and enter one of the directories. So for that we would type, this means cd Azure means change directory into Azure. So now you can see the command line has changed and it shows Azure and after that a hash or a pound sign. Now let's create a file within this directory. So I'll go ahead and create a file. So touch over here means to create a file. To create a directory, it's mk, which is make, and to create a file, it's touch. I'll do that and I would confirm that. So yes, the file .txt has been created. Let's see what other. Equally, if we want to exit this directory, if we want to go just one step back, I would do cd space dot. The double dot over here means exit, or basically just to go one step back. Let's now try and do right. So we have created a file called cloud1.txt. Now let's try and write something or modify that file. So let's actually again enter the Azure directory. So we enter the Azure directory. Let's create another file. For example, so I type touch cloud2.txt, for example. So that has been created. Now what I would want to do is I would want to enter cloud2 and try and modify it. So what I'm going to do is I'll type vi space cloud2.txt. So vi is an editor basically, which will let me enter the file and edit it or modify it. So I will press enter. I would now type I, which stands for insert. Now I can type anything over here. So let's say I type how are you, for example. Now I want to save this and exit. What I need to do is I need to press escape basically. I press escape and then I press shift and semicolon, and then I type WQ and enter. WQ means write and quit. So I entered the file called cloud2.txt. I modified it. I have now saved it and I have exited the file. So I'll again just so when I did list, I got those two files within Azure folder, which are cloud1 and cloud2 within Azure directory, sorry. I would now want to exit Azure directory, come one step back. So you can see there are three directories which are still appearing, which I have created: AWS, Azure, and GCP. So these are some of the very basic commands in Linux, guys. Hope this proves useful for you. Thank you very much.